All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast, real estate tip, where every single week I come to you delivering different tips, tactics, and strategies to help you get shit done inside your real estate business and go out there and create that real estate business that you know you truly want and deserve, and to crush and dominate your real estate goals. All right, so today I'm here to talk to you about a topic that I know so many of you, and maybe it's something that either you struggle with, or if you're a team leader, brokerage owner, that your agents might struggle with, that we need to learn to overcome, which is the fear of rejection. So we're going to be breaking down how to immediately overcome your fear of rejection, so that way you can step into action and go out there and get those results that you want to get. The reality is, I don't care whether your business is inbound or outbound. This doesn't matter if you're going after buyers, sellers, agent recruits. And again, whether your business is inbound, meaning you got inbound leads coming in from online, or if you're doing outbound, whether it be cold calling or any type of outbound prospecting, look, you got to get damn good on the phones. Appointments get set on the phones, and our ability to go out there and work the phones, have effective conversations, navigate these, are directly going to impact greatly our overall conversions and make a massive impact on our overall success. So we got to get really good and get really used to being told no, because the reality is you are going to get exponentially more no's than you get yeses throughout your entire career. Look, the best of the best, I don't care what the lead source is, but the best of the best in our industry at any given lead source, I can promise and guarantee you, gets exponentially more no's, exponentially more rejections than they ever do yeses. And if you start breaking down certain lead sources, and now I know this gets tough and convoluted because each lead source has different conversion rates, but let's just look at something like Zillow. Okay, like do the best of the best that we see out there is, maybe 20% conversion rates. I know some people might be slightly above that, but man, if you're converting at 20%, dude, you're pretty much world class at converting on Zillow. That means 80% are rejecting you. Okay, let's just say you're going after expireds. Okay, like if you're getting 6% conversion rates, man, that is absolutely amazing. That means 94% of people that you have conversations with are rejecting you, and not necessarily rejecting you personally, but they're saying no, not right now to the process. And sometimes you're going to have people that are rude, that reject you, whatever. And then sometimes it's just a subtle no or whatever. But the point of this is, you are going to get rejected exponentially more than you get accepted. And that's just part of sales. That's just part of the industry that we're in. That's just part of this. And if you don't learn how to overcome this fear of rejection, which I know goes deep just from the domestication of how we're brought up, it's like from when we're kids, whatever, like we want to go out there and please people. We don't want to, get rejected, whether it be by friend groups or rejection of a grade, or, like failure is so looked down upon as we're growing up, as we're domesticated, if you will, that this is like our internal wiring is like, man, we are fearful of being told no, of getting rejected, of all of these things. But we got to get over this shit if we want to grow and scale our business. Because again, you're going to get exponentially more no's than you ever get yeses. And as the great Napoleon Hill says, is that the level of success that you create is going to be in direct proportion to the amount of temporary defeats that you experience. So we got to get this whole failure thing out of our mind, or this rejection thing out of our mind, as being a negative thing. You get to that point where, okay, you make money every time, and I'm going to walk you through this today, but it's like every time I get a no, or even the extreme situations where somebody gets kind of nasty, which is rare, but those extreme cases where somebody gets nasty, they tell you to F off, they tell you, piss off, like you get to a point where you're making money every time you get a no, every time somebody gets nasty with you, every time somebody tells you to F off, right? Like you are making money through those activities. And I'll walk you through kind of some, different fun things that we do internally within my real estate business and real estate team to kind of gamify this. So, then that way we know, like, hey, how much is an F off worth to us, right? It's like every time I get told to F off, I might be making $1,500 every time I get told to F off. Now, if I were to tell you right now, if we were standing in person, I'd say, hey man, I got $1,500 cash right here. I'm going to give you this $1,500, but first you must allow me to tell you to F off. You probably say hell yes to that deal. Well, then from there, like, why are, even though that's the deal we have available to us on a daily basis, why are you not saying yes to that deal? Just the only difference is the physical cash in your hand at that point versus, delaying it in a commission, but it's all the same overall process. Now, before I jump into this content today, because I'm going to walk you through really 4 primary steps on how to, again, immediately get into action and overcome your overall fear of rejection. But before I do, if you are a real estate agent, team leader, or brokerage owner that is looking to grow and scale your real estate business, maybe your business is on the decline, maybe it's stagnant, maybe it's growing but not at the path that you want it to, you're operating down here, your potential is way up here, but you just do not know exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go inside your real estate business, I want to invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally. Now, we're going to jump on this call. It's going to be an hour-long call, and here's what we're going to do and break down. We're going to break down where your business is at right now, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you are currently doing, what your current biggest obstacles are. And then through this coaching session, I'm going to map out and walk through exactly what I recommend that you do to get from where you're at to where it is that you want to go in the most effective, efficient, and profitable manner to ensure that you get from where you're at to where you want to go. So you will know by the end of this 100% free, 100% zero pressure coaching call, exactly what you must do to get from, again, where you're at to where you want to go. Now, full disclosure on this, we're going to spend about 50 minutes going through everything that I just walked you through there. Then the last 10 minutes, I'm going to spend a few minutes walking through some of my coaching and mentorship options that I have and how they might possibly be a fit for you. And look, if they're fit for you, great. If not, hey, that's okay too. I will still, you have my word, I will still make sure that this coaching call is extremely powerful for you. You will not leave this call without knowing exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. And again, whether you want to do business with me or not, I will make sure that this call is extremely powerful for you. So if that is something that you want to take advantage of, you can go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Okay, so let's jump into, again, I want to walk you through 4 different things that will greatly help you immediately overcome call reluctance. And it doesn't mean that you still might not have the fear. It might take several months to get rid of those butterflies in the belly. I had those too. I'm somebody that, like, these are things that I had to overcome, things that I had to do. I used to spend more time looking at the damn phone than I actually did dialing it, because I hated doing this stuff, just like the vast majority of us hate doing this stuff. So I'm not somebody that just innately, that just didn't give a shit, that started picking up the phones and never cared about people's opinions. I did. I used to be that guy that cared greatly about people's opinions, was a crazy people pleaser, wanted everybody to love me, like me, So these are things that, I had to go through very heavily too. And here's the 4 things that I honed in, that I dialed in, that allowed me to overcome my own personal fear of rejection, this whole call reluctance, and things that I also do with my agents internally on my own team to get them into action as well. Okay, so number 1, the first thing here is about changing your overall perspective about this. Right? And one thing that was really helpful for me is years and years and years ago, I read a study about the average funeral. So it was about the average funeral, like 100 people show up to the average funeral. Now, if it's raining outside, only 50% of those show up. So if it's raining outside, dude, only 50 show up. But then of the 100 or the 50, depending on the weather, that show up, of that, only 6 people actually shed a tear at the average funeral. Now, I don't know how these studies are done or whatever. The reason why I'm sharing this is it got me really thinking about this. I'm like, why am I spending so much time worrying about the opinion of people that will never show up to my funeral? And definitely, if they did show up, wouldn't be one of those that are shedding a tear. Why am I not living to go out there and create the opportunities for the people that I need to provide for in my life? And of course, to go out there and create my own goals, dreams, and visions a reality. Why am I letting the opinion of some stranger that could care less about me or my family or my ability to go out there and feed my kids? Why am I letting their opinion stifle my own success? And it just really hit me hard. And it got me really internalizing this and thinking about this. Because here's the reality of the situation. And when I bring this up, I'm not trying to paint a picture that people are bad or people are evil, because I don't believe that to be the case. The vast majority of human beings out there are great human beings that are not evil. It's just that we are all extremely busy living our own lives. Like, nobody's going to bed at night worrying about if you can pay your bills, if you can provide for your family, like if you're going to foreclose on your home or have to file bankruptcy or can't make your mortgage payment this month. Like, nobody gives two shits, right? Like, the only person that cares at the end of the day is you and those that you are providing for, maybe your spouse, your kids, and whatnot. So just understanding that, then I took it a deep further. I'm like, okay, man, maybe I, jump in my car after the workday today, and I go out on the busy road. Maybe I got to jump on the freeway and boom, I get hit by some semi, right? Like, is this stranger that I'm so fearful of telling me no and rejecting me, or possibly worst case scenario, which is rare, telling me to F off, like, would they even give two shits if I got hit by a semi, on the freeway tonight and left this planet? No. And I'm not saying they're evil, right? They might be watching the news and be like, oh, that sucks. 2 seconds later, honey, what's for dinner? Right. So then for me, it just helped me put this into perspective. Okay, I need to start living for myself to go out there and accomplish my own goals, dreams, and visions. But then for those that like rely on me to go out there and create opportunities for. Then I started visualizing, even taking this stuff a step, further. I started visualizing. Now, this was when I just had my daughter, so she was a baby at the time. But I started visualizing, okay, 18 years later, my daughter gets accepted into her dream college. And she comes to me, she opens up the opening letter. These were just visualization exercise I'd walk myself through. So she opens up the letter, get her acceptance letter, and this is her dream college to get into. And she's so excited. Like, how do I want that scenario to go? Do I want to be like, hey, honey, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. Now, unfortunately, you're going to have to do student loans. And you're going to have to then, after you graduate college, have a stack of these crazy student loans that's going to take you the next 20 years of your life to pay off. And you're going to have to start your adult life in a mountain of debt because your father was too much of a fucking coward to get on this piece of plastic or this piece of glass phone and have conversations with these strangers that could give two shit about you, me, and our family. But your father was too much of a coward to do that. So then now I can't provide these opportunities for you. And I just would visualize moments like that. So I put myself, like, I just fixed my perspective of thinking about, okay, well, why am I taking this action? Why am I doing this? And am I letting the opinion of others, right, like, overvalue the actions that I'm taking that are creating opportunities for those that truly matter to me and truly matter in my life? So a lot of this is just that mental perspective shift, so that was number one, right? So then from there, I just started thinking how silly it was for me to care about these opinions of others. And this doesn't just have to be about call reluctance. This can be, for those of you that are maybe afraid to go out there and post on social media or create videos out there or whatever, because people are going to talk shit. I get 6 freaking nasty messages there. People are, cowards behind the keyboard and talking shit about whatever. I get flooded with those each and every day, right? But the impact is much greater. The opportunities are much greater, right? So, like, who am I living for? Am I living for my own dreams, goals, and visions and those that rely on me to create opportunities for? Or am I living for the opinion of some stranger that does not give two shits about me or my family? So, that's number one, is just thinking about this deeply on that perspective, because that was something that greatly just transformed my mindset to not give two shits about the opinions of strangers that don't care about me. Look, there's always going to be a percentage of people that love you. There's always going to be a percentage that hate you, right? To not get haters, what's the saying out there? If you don't want haters, just do nothing, be nothing, become nobody, right? Okay, so that's number one. Okay, so number two was the understanding of just picking which pain I would rather deal with. Because a lot of the pain of, of this isn't necessarily the fear of rejection. Once we can overcome that, well, now it's the fear or the pain of pushing through the mundane, tedious work each and every single day. Okay, like if I want to go out there and I'll just give you the numbers right now, like with the right strategy, assuming you're calling the right people, and you have the right scripts and you have the right skill set. Yeah, right. Okay, well, I know then, okay, I can do 50 dials an hour, 5 conversations an hour. So 2 hours a day, that's going to easily equate to 1 solid listing every single week. So 2 hours a day, like, and now I don't know another industry, but we can just spend 2 hours a day, with our primary, activity and go out there and make like 40 grand a month. Like, show me what industry that exists. Now I get it's boring, it's mundane, it's tedious. We're going to get rejected, but we just got to pick which pain we would rather experience. The pain of not doing the work, which is going to mean, okay, the pain of struggling, the pain of being broke, the pain of not going out there and creating the opportunities for our families, for our loved ones, not accomplishing our real estate dreams, goals, and visions. Maybe the pain of having to become a statistic in this industry, and having to go face ourselves, which is the worst part about it. But then also, friends, family, loved ones, whatever. And we can maybe come up with excuses or reasons as to why we were failure in this industry and how to become a statistic. But deep down, like everybody that doesn't make it in this industry, at 90% of realtors that fail in the first 3 years, or those that do, fail afterwards, they know deep down that they failed because they didn't give it their all. Like, they know deep down, like you can maybe trick your friends or family and be like, oh, the market, right? But like, they know deep down, it was them. That's the worst to face, is having to go with that heavy hearted regret for the rest of your life, knowing that you were a quitter and that you lost because you chose to be a loser, not take the necessary actions that you needed to take. So it's just about picking your pain, right? Like, okay, am I going to do the pain of putting in the boring, mundane, tedious work each and every single day? Or am I going to have to, endure the pain of struggling and potentially having to, quit this industry because I didn't give it my all, and so forth. The other thing, that this isn't one of my points, but I want to bring this up too, because this is something that comes up a lot. I'll get people, that will say to me, oh, well, it's hard work. Oh man, it's so hard. It's hard work doing the calls every day, having these conversations. I'm like, look, again, this is just a perspective thing. It is not hard work, right? If the hardest work that you have to do throughout your day is to, pick up this phone right here and have conversations with some strangers for a couple hours a day to go out there and make, 40 grand a month consistently, and get some no's and rejections. I look at this, and this is what I'm always telling my agents or coaching clients. I'm like, look, you're in an air-conditioned office. You got your cold water, right? I'm in a comfortable environment. If the hardest part of my day is picking up this phone, having these conversations and getting told no, and whatever, that's the hardest part of my entire day, man, you got it so fucking good. Like we got to drop this whole entitled mindset, right? I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a new movie out. It's on Amazon right now. I just watched it the other day with my daughter and my wife, called The Sound of Freedom. Epic movie. Highly recommend everybody watch it. But this is about this guy that goes out there and busts all these, sex traffickers, like these child traffickers. And I'm watching that. I'm looking at that, and good entertaining movie, but it's all like a true story, so it was, also kind of hard to watch because you're sitting there thinking about this and all the millions of kids that are, kidnapped on an annual basis, sold into sex slavery. And, it talks about like how, like, the reason why child trafficking is the number one, fastest growing criminal organization, or whatever, out there, more so than drugs or whatever. Cause it's like, okay, like cocaine can only be snorted once, goes up one nose, whatever, where they're like, these kids can be sold 5 times a day, every single day, 7 days a week for, for prostitution, whatever, for, however many years until, whatever that looks like. But this is a guy that his job is to go out there and bust these people and try to free these kids and bring these kids. But man, all the shit that he has to deal with, all the shit that he sees, all the, kids that he can't go out there and save. And, even when he saves them, they've already been, sexually molested by, these pedophiles. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, dude, that's fucking really hard work. Like the shit that I'm doing each and every day, like it really got me into, again, just it's a perspective shift. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I'm bitching about having to, I might have days where I got to work 14-hour days, but again, I'm in like the hardest part of my day is I have 14 hours a day. I'm sitting here on Zoom all day or on these cameras all day, creating content, building systems. I'm like, dude, my day is so damn, compared to this dude, my day is a fucking cakewalk. Like, why am I bitching, moaning, complaining? Like, this is not hard work. Now I get it. Doesn't mean that what we do can't be boring, mundane, tedious. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be challenges. Doesn't mean that we're not going to put out fires. But when we put it into context to, people that actually have true hard work, that actually have true real stress, that actually have, at least for me, that just helps me put this into perspective so I can look at myself in the mirror and be like, quit being a whiny little bitch, dude, and get your shit together. What you are doing is easy, and you are blessed to be in such an amazing, easy industry that you have endless income earning potential and opportunities. Like again, this, so much of this is perspective. Okay. So tip number 3 here. This is an analogy I utilize a lot with my agents and again, with some of my coaching clients and whatnot as well. I'm like, look, I never learned to go out there and dance because a lot of people are like, well, I don't like to do these calls, and they think it's a fear of rejection or they have call reluctance for, whatever story, whatever reason then they're making up in their head. And the analogy I always like to use on this is, look, I'm a bad dancer. I've never invested the time to go out there and learn how to dance. And, so like if I'm at a wedding or whatever, maybe my wife wants to get up and go dance or whatever, I'm like, dude, like I fucking hate it. It's uncomfortable. I suck at it. However, though, if I took the time, if I cared enough, and if I took the time to invest in learning how to dance and then got good at dancing, well, then that same activity that right now I don't like to do, that I'm uncomfortable doing, I would probably enjoy that activity. Like the shit that we're good at, we start to learn and we start to enjoy doing those certain activities. So here's the thing is, as you get good at these, as you master your skill sets, as you get great, becoming a great conversationalist, great at navigating these conversations, great at, identifying what those true root objections are and with the AKA problems, and you're navigating those and you're solving problems and you're winning consistently because you're having high conversion rates, and you're able to, again, have good, high quality, effective conversations and increase your conversion rates, and you're just stacking up wins. Well, then that activity that was a pain in the ass, now we start to love and we start to enjoy and we start to look forward to. I got to a point where, the same activity, I spend more time looking at the phone than I would actually dialing because I hated doing it. Once I just started leveling up my skill set, changed my perspective, then I started leveling up my skill set and I started getting damn good at these things. Well, now it became fun. So this boring, mundane, pain in the ass activity, now I fucking love it. Like sales is like my favorite thing to go out there and do. I love all aspects of business and all aspects of this business, but that is my hands down favorite component, favorite thing. I get such a big rush out of it. So you take this thing that sucked to now being fun by increasing your skill set. I just want you to understand that when you dial in these three things, you got the right strategy, meaning that you're targeting the right people at the right times, right? You got the right process, right? So we're following up frequently enough and in the right ways, right? That's process, what we do, when we do it, how we do it. So strategy is like who we are targeting, right? Then process is going to be what we do, when we do it, how we do it. Then from there, we got skill set. So we got, you dial in your strategy, you dial in your process, you dial in your skill set. Skill set is how good we do the things that we're doing. Then boom, man, like you get those three things dialed in, you become a conversion machine. And now you start to see wins each and every single day, right? Like you start stacking up these wins and this shit gets fun then. There's it can be very difficult when we're doing the work day in and day out and we're just getting our ass beat each and every single day, day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out. Okay, yeah, that can become exhaustive and that can become where burnout sets in, but there's no reason for that, because again, if you got the right strategy, the right process, the right skill set, you start seeing wins. Like, okay, I know, hey man, if I'm doing 100 dials a day, which is easy to do with the right dialer where I can, do that in a 2-hour period. So 100 dials, 10 conversations. Okay, well then with that, I'm going to be setting about an appointment every single day on average. So then I'm starting to see wins, bam, 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 right? And that we're seeing progress, and these things become fun. Okay, so then the last component, here is tracking. So then from there, the path is in the math, man. Like we need to track our data, track your, amount of reach outs, amount of conversations, appointment set, appointment conductions, clients, closings, and do this, per prospecting or per lead source. So not only then can we know what areas we need to improve at inside of our business, but then from there, we're able, as I said earlier in this, when I began this podcast, we can start to gamify this stuff, right? So then I know exactly, like every time the phone rings, even when somebody doesn't pick it up, okay, I've got a dollar amount associated to that. So let's just say it's $7 every time that phone just rings. Then every time somebody just picks up that phone, maybe that's going to be worth, $97 to you. Then every time somebody says no to you, maybe that's worth $150 to you, right? Then right? Like, so you start to game it. Now this is going to be dependent on what your average commission is. But when you start knowing, okay, well, how many, reach outs, meaning dials, how many conversations, appointment set, appointment conductions, clients, closings, right now, and you know what your average closing is, now you can put a dollar amount to each one of these. So you start to sit there and see, like if I were to tell you that, hey dude, every time you pick this up and put in somebody's, phone number here in this phone, and that phone rings, man, you're going to get paid $7. Right? Every time somebody answers that phone, whether they say yes or no, boom, that's worth X. Right? Then every time you get an actual no, now that's worth X. Now, when they say yes for an appointment, okay, that's worth X. Yeah, right. Then, okay, then you start getting big, right? It's like, okay, every time, you set an appointment, now it's worth like $1,500, or maybe it's worth $2,000, depending on what your average price point is, your average commission, right? So not only does this allow predictability, so you know exactly how many no's you need to get to a yes, but this also allows you to start to gamify it where you can put a dollar amount to each one. So then it's like, okay, those rare, token assholes, maybe it's once a day. So out of 200, the 100 dials that you do and 10 conversations that you have, and it won't even be near that. If you're following up and you have the right scripts, the right whatever, I mean, it's like once every 2 months, I get somebody that's really pissy that tells me to F off, right? So, I mean, that's so rare. But by the time I get that, it's like when I said earlier, like, it's like more like $1,500 to me to get an F off. So I'm cool with the F offs because every time I get one, I'm making like 1,500 bones, right? So there's a way to go out there and gamify this. Just understand that the path is in the math. Now I'm just going to end with this, and this is kind of what I began with. I need you to understand that appointments are set on the phones inside real estate. I don't care if you're going for buyers, sellers, recruits. Now I get there's going to be those situations where, oh man, I was able to just set this appointment through text or through a DM or through an email, but those are going to be the rarities, right? If you're doing this at a high level, and you're, a top producer, right? The vast majority, 90+% of your appointments are going to be set or through the phones. And again, it doesn't matter whether it's buyers, sellers, agent recruiting, it's all the same, right? So this is a skill set that we need to hone in, that we need to get dialed in, that we need to, when I say skill set, I'm not just talking about the skill sets of what to say and when to say it and how to say it and dialing in strategy, process, and skill set. I'm talking about the skill set to overcome call reluctance, right? Dial in these 4 things that I walked you through today and get us from inaction and get us into action. Because look, at the end of the day, just comes down to 2 things, and I'm just going to say this not to be a jerk, but I don't want you to accidentally allow your brain to trick you into being delusional. You really have 2 choices. Like, you can get into action, start doing the necessary things that are going to allow you to go out there and make as much money as you need and want to make inside this business. Or you can not take these actions, go out there, struggle your ass off, be broke, and possibly become a statistic that doesn't make it in this industry. Choice is yours, right? Like, I hope that you choose, the action, right? That's why I'm sharing this podcast with you, because I want all of you guys to go out there and crush it and succeed and go out there and build those dream real estate businesses for you and for your families. All right. So again here, if you are stuck inside your business, and again, maybe your business is declining, maybe it's stagnant, maybe it's growing, but it's not growing at the pace that you want it to grow to. It's like you're operating down here, but your potential is up here, and you just do not know exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally. So this is going to be me and you on this call. We're going to spend an hour together, and we're going to break down your business. We're going to go through, I'm going to ask you questions about where your business is at right now, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you are currently doing inside your business to get the business that you're getting. And then from there, the current biggest obstacles that you're facing. Then from there, I'm going to walk you through and give you my recommended strategy to go from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So it's like, hey man, if we were to switch situations, and if I'm you, here's exactly what I would do to get from where you're at to where you want to go and get there in the quickest time frame possible. Now, I'm going to make sure before we leave this call together, you are going to know exactly what to do to, again, get from where you're at to where you want to go. So if you are struggling and you're not taking advantage of this call, or maybe not struggling, but maybe, again, not just growing at the path that you want to grow to, and you don't know exactly what the best strategy is and what to go out there and do, right? Again, I invite you to schedule this call with me. And if you're not taking action on this, look, I can't help those that don't want to take action. 100% free, 100% zero pressure. Yes, at the very end of this call, I'm going to spend a couple minutes just informing you about, my coaching program and see if it's fit for you. If it is, cool. If not, that's okay too. We can still be friends. I will still 100% make sure that this is an amazing use of your time. I will make sure that you do not leave this call with not knowing exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. So, and again, I know I use this analogy a lot on these podcasts, but, visualize this, man. Like, if you're in quicksand, or somebody's in quicksand, or like you're in quicksand and you're sinking, like I'm throwing you the rope right now, and you grab that rope, I will pull you out. Like, I 100% got you. I will make sure that you have exact clarity on what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. And I don't care whether you're a brand new agent, individual agent, part-time agent, team leader, broker owner, I 100% got your back. I will get you dialed in. I promise you on this, but if you don't grab the rope, you're just choosing to sink and I can't help you. So if you want to schedule this, and again, this is going to be with me in person, I will get you dialed in on this 1 hour long Zoom call together. Go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. All right, guys, keep up the amazing work. Go get over your call reluctance, step into action, keep crushing it, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you next time. Peace.